Hey, what's happening? Johnny here, along with Jimmy, Skip, and Irving. We're the Tattoo Millionaires from Anytown, USA, and you're watching Decibel Geek TV. Rock on!
All right, there we go. Welcome everybody to another Friday Night Live here with Decibel Geek. I am Rockin' Ron with Decibel Geek TV, and I'm here with my good buddy and rock brother from the Decibel Geek podcast, Mr. Chris Czynszak. How you doing, Chris? Yeah.
I was lip syncing to Paul Stanley. I wanted to be just like him. Sorry. All right. How's everybody doing? Got a few of you already tuned in. Adam NC, hello.
Oh.
Robert Rowe in the house. Rock and Row podcast. Please don't give up the podcast. It's a cool show. Hope you'll keep doing it. Doing all right. Aaron Camaro is taking the night off, so he's not going to be joining us tonight. So you're stuck with the two Stooges, and we'll make it three here in a few minutes with our special guest tonight. And Rock and Ron, how are you doing this week? You hanging in there?
Hanging in there, doing the best I can.
Cool. Got through your first week of treatment.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah,
there's some rough spots, but hopefully I'll get through it here. Had a lot of good stuff happen though. Got my rockin' pod all booked and
nice.
Finalized, ready to go. So I'm going to be joining everybody in Nashville here. So looking forward to that.
Well, Rockin' Pod, August 6th through the 8th. Go to rockinpod.com and get your tickets. We've got more announcements coming soon. And
yeah, we got a couple little announcements this week, huh?
Yeah, we coming back this year is Greg Renoff, author of Van Halen Rising and the Ted Templeman autobiography. So was pretty blown away by how much excitement there was over that one announcement. Not that I didn't think people would be excited by it, but yeah, he's got his following has grown a lot since year one of Rockin' Pod. So I'm excited to see him again. And then our friend Jax Hollow, who's been on the Friday Night Live stream, she's going to be coming to the expo. So excited to talk to her again and have her in. And then also coming back this year, our friend Rick Rule from Everywhere.
There we go, my man. So now we got the full Memphis attack.
Yes, we do.
Roxy Blue, Tora, and now Every Mother's Nightmare.
And I think some of the other band members are coming too, from what I heard. So, and also along, we announced earlier, Anthony from Tora is coming. It's shaping up like the whole band from Tora is actually going to be coming this year. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, they're usually not too far behind.
Facebook keeps freezing on you. That's not our fault. Amber Brook, one of our 5 female viewers / listeners, is checking in. Good to see you.
Good to see you again, Amber.
Derek Hughes. Happy Friday, Derek.
Oh, yeah. Happy Friday. Thank God.
Yeah. So I just ate some Nashville hot chicken before I got on here tonight.
Oh, that might not have been a good idea.
Yeah. If you see smoke come up from behind me, you'll know why. But yeah, no, it was pretty good. We went to this little food truck thing out in the like near the town square. And it was like it was like 7 different food trucks, and CBD vendors and candle vendors, and the army was there, and it was just kind of a mishmash of vendors and food trucks. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes those are the best.
Mm-hmm. And you see, I'm wearing my Decibel Geek T-shirt today. And
Yeah, I see that.
Thought I'd wear that in honor of the new ad that I put out for Decibel Geek. Check that out. Get in, loser. We're listening to Decibel Geek. That's our good friend Mighty K showing off her shirt. She looks a lot better than I do. So go to clicktshop.com, get your Decibel Geek shirt, and be cool. Don't be a loser.
Mighty K going the whole modeling route.
Yep.
Now she's going to be a supermodel.
Oh man, but yeah, so it's a lot going on. We do have a Smasher Trash tonight. We'll be doing that a little bit later, and a special guest coming on here in a few minutes. Yeah, it is an awesome photo, and great graphics done by moi. But working on a lot of stuff for Rockin' Pod this week. I've got a very busy weekend. I'm going to devote most of my weekend to tying up loose ends and getting last-minute guests involved and all that good stuff. And thanks to all of you that listened to the New Noise Kiss edition that we just did this past week. A lot of good feedback on that. You guys always like it when we talk Kiss. And one thing that I didn't get to bring up because I didn't notice it online until like two days after we put the episode out was... did you see this Vinnie Vincent handwritten lyrics thing?
Just that he was trying to sell them or whatever.
Or he's going to write out the lyrics to some of the songs he's involved in, and they're like $3,500 each. And, yeah. But it's just him writing them out on a sheet of paper. It's not like you're getting the original lyrics as they were written when he wrote the song. Yeah. And if you can get like all the compositions for like $125,000. It's a real bargain.
Yeah, I used to write out lyrics in my Trapper Keeper notebook, and and that I should have kept them. Just lyrics to random songs or whatever. You can just, oh yeah, here I'll sell that to you for a few $1,000s. I don't know. I just shake my head because the crazy stuff that this guy just keeps coming up with, it's so ridiculous ideas that not even anything normal, like just selling your guitar or something like that. I could see that, or if you're selling some kind of memorabilia, but to say, yeah, I'm going to write out the lyrics to some song that I wrote on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to sell that to you for $1,000.
Yeah, it's just
it's just ridiculous.
And the other big news that happened came out today, which I guess we kind of already knew it was going to happen. The Motley Poison Def Leppard tour has been postponed until 2022 now. They announced it today.
Yeah, not a big shocker.
Nope. And which I kind of knew ahead of time because Vince Neil's going to be doing something. He's not doing my event in Nashville on August 7th, but he's doing some Grand Prix race appearance that's going on downtown. So and he announced that like 2 months ago, and they had a date like up in New York or something at that time booked on the tour. So once I saw that, I was like, they're not going to do it. And then several people that I talked to that, work with crews and stuff, they had all said, oh, no, it's not happening this year. So it's a bummer for the people that were hoping for it to happen this year. But it's a stadium tour, and they gotta route these things. There's insurance costs. There's a lot of different variables that you can't really do major touring right now. I think we're getting close to it, but you can come to Rockin' Pod Saturday, August 7th, and we're going ahead with that. I think we'll be at full capacity too. So check that out. What's this Robert Rose saying? How about a box set? No, I don't think he should touch box sets anymore.
Yeah.
That won't work.
No, luckily, yeah, things are starting to open up a little bit, and they just getting better and better as we go on here. So I think we're definitely getting on the right track, and and that. So I was pretty optimistic about Rockin' Pod a few months back, to whether it was going to be able to happen or not. But, now as it's getting closer and things are opening up, then I'm a lot more open to seeing that we will be able to pull this off, and it's going to be a good time. We're not going to be 50 feet away from each other or something.
No, I think we'll be okay in August. My mic must be. I'll turn it up a little louder and let me know if that's better. I've increased the volume.
Yeah, a little bit better.
The drinking game started. No, not for me. And I think me and Ron are both sober tonight. All right, so okay, I guess that helped with my mic volume. All right, so we kind of got the business out of the way. You want to go ahead and do the intro?
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and get our guests in here. Old school guest from the grew up on the New York and the LA punk scene, and that got a lot of cool stories to tell us about. Let me go ahead and give you a little taste of him here, and then we'll bring the man on here.
In my days with Mary Jane, fly my plane high on cocaine. When I land, I take a limo to the show. Backstage boozing, get my better than a broken heart. She's been all over the world. She's a rock and roll girl. It's Friday night, got to get it right. Don't wait for Saturday, 'cause the kids wanna play. Light 'em up, tonight, set the town alight. No matter what or right, get ready to fight. Light 'em up, 'cause I believe in a sound that's magical. Hear it all around, it's a love so powerful. I believe that anything is possible. I believe in rock and roll. Overheated, love in the heart of the city. I'm gonna shine you up and take you round the moon. When you look at me with the streetlights in your eyes, you only love me for my car. You got me driving you all over town. Your motor purring, yeah, I love the sound. You only love me for my car.
Cool.
All right, there we go. Let's welcome the man himself, Mr. Johnny Jetson, to Friday Night Live.
There he is.
There he is.
You only love me for my car. You only love me for my car. Hey, I love that intro, man. Rockin' Ron, Chris.
Thank you, man.
Here. Ron, thanks for putting together that cool intro, man. It was like a true video. Like, it was the same video clip live, playing like 3 different songs. I love it.
So, how's it going, Johnny?
It's going good. Is my head cut off? Can you see the whole head? Or am I cut off?
You cut off a little bit. Although on my end, you're still upside down. You and the guys in the comments, tell me, am I the only person seeing Johnny upside down? It's probably on my end.
I don't know. Let him know.
You got some weird stuff going on there, Chris. I don't know.
I just assumed he's a big Lionel Richie fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm partying on the ceiling tonight with you.
Yeah, they're already saying it's my end. It's my end. All right. I don't know what's up with my.
So it's
fucking
cool.
computer.
I've been an audience member of the show before, so now it's nice to be the guest, and
That's awesome.
it's great to be here on the Rock and Ron. Now, Ron, you and I met back in Colorado, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. You came to Colorado with the Tattooed Millionaires, Jimmy and Skip and them, and I met with you guys and did some promo stuff with you. I know there's a picture you use here. Now, if I can find it.
Yeah, I saw the clip in the beginning was cool when we're sitting on the couch. That was a fun time. I love playing with Skip and Jimmy. That was a cool incarnation of the Tattoo Millionaires. There it is.
Got this shot here. I remember taking that shot of you guys. We just kind of randomly got on the pool table there and put that together. But you guys did a cool interview with me, and then we got some videos up on Decibel Geek TV. So yeah, it was good to hear from you again when I seen that you tuned in for the Friday Night Live here a while back, and
Yeah, you guys
made some comments in that.
You guys have some great guests on your show.
Oh,
So
thank
it's
you.
an honor and a privilege to be here with you rockin' dudes, because I know that you believe in rock and roll like I do. So
Absolutely. What's a sweet guitar? What kind of, is that an Explorer? It's a different headstock than what I'm used to seeing.
yeah, this is the 58 Explorer with that split headstock thing that they did back in 58.
That's really nice.
This one I kind of had built and then finished it myself.
Very cool. Awesome. So where are you
playing
based
guitar.
out of right now?
Right now I'm right outside Minneapolis, which is pretty much boarded up, and
Oh, yeah?
a city that was really cool and vibrant and great arts community, great music scene, tons of places to play. But with COVID and the riots that came through town, it pretty much shut everything down. So I took to the bunker. This is my basement, my lair, my space where I create, listen to records, play my pinball machine, and hang out. And so I wrote like a whole bunch of songs, put out a record during the COVID thing, and it did really well with some of the independent radio stations. That was the Make Your Move record. It's a cool cover with the girl with the smoking gun, cowboy hat, cool photograph. Check it out. Make Your Move.
That's cool.
And we put out that record. It sounded great. I got a new one. I mean, I just kind of wrote a whole bunch of songs. I got like, could put out records every 6 months. It's going to be like the early days of Kiss, Johnny Jetson record every, 3 albums every 18 months or something.
Oh, that's cool. Well, yeah, if COVID did anything for musicians, it gave them time to work on material, right?
Well, yeah, that and the Minnesota winters,
Yeah.
pretty much every winter I come down here, write a record. And then, as soon as the weather's warm enough to be outside, working on cars and hanging out and, we're outside. Because you got long winter to look forward to.
Yeah, for real.
So I broke the hibernation this year and went down to Florida and played like 7 shows in 8 days down there, and it was pretty cool. I mean, there's not a lot of places that are open up, it's starting now, but a few weeks back it was even just starting. And that was cool. Went down to Florida, played some cool shows, going back, playing better venues, better nights, and
That's cool. Who's your model on the cover here?
the model is a gal named Tina Hedgren, and she was kind of a bit of a scenester in the LA scene in the early 70s and the rock scene, and dated some rock stars, and then went back to Chicago, raised a daughter, and this was a photo she took in 1979 when she was modeling.
Wow. Okay.
But there is an interesting story. I mean, I found this photo at a garage sale and had to have it. And the lady wanted $25 for it. It was like this cool photo sitting in like a wooden frame, like you'd win at the carnival or something. And she wanted 25. I'm like, well, you take 20. She's like, no, I don't think I'll sell it for 20. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll give you 25. It's just so cool, right? So, over the course of 8 years or so, I searched the internet high and low now and again to see if there was any information on this photo, and could never find anything on it. It didn't exist in the public domain. So I finally just put it on it as a teaser on the album cover and put it out. And to me, I woke up one morning and had the #1 song on this Indie Alliance chart, and that's cool. I have a #1 song on the charts. Hey, it's indie radio, but it's cool, right? Over 200 stations were playing the song, and I wake up and then I was not resting there, so I'm sending more music out and hit this radio station up in Chicago, and right away a DJ got back to me, this guy Boris, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll play your stuff. Send it here." I sent it to him, and a minute later he's like, "Oh, I'll play your stuff. It sounds great." and I know the girl on your record cover. I'm like, what? You know this girl on my record cover? Like, so he knew Tina like 20 years, and then he put me in touch with Tina's daughter, and she gave me the okay to put it on the record. She thought it would be great, and we put a little money aside for each sale. It goes to the Petco pet charities, help homeless cats and dogs find homes.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's
Cool.
pretty cool. And she loved the music. Her daughter loved the music, and me and Boris became friends. And so that's the story on Tina. But back in the day, she like dated Rod Stewart and lifelong friends with Eric Clapton and Alice Cooper and others. Not to throw her name around, but she was like there hanging out. And I have a photo of her from an old Cream magazine. On Cream magazine had Alice Cooper on the cover. You guys remember Cream, right?
Oh yeah.
Cream,
Oh, yeah.
Cream, and well, there's a issue of Cream with Alice Cooper on the cover. He's got in front of the Hollywood sign like a Rolls Royce, and these two girls dressed up like 30s style glamour. That issue has her in the back. They profiled like the Rodney Bingenheimer's English Disco Club back in the day, and there's a photo of her in there with like Jimmy Page's girlfriend, and it's pretty cool. So I remember that picture as a kid, that's the connection made. Like I drooled over that photo, in the 70s as a kid reading Cream magazine. And then there was a connection when I first saw that picture. Like I had to have it. So there it is. And now she's on the cover of a record.
Cool. Yeah. And I really do like that you stick to the old time sound, of the New York punk scene and the LA punk scene. You have modern rockin' music, but still kind of got that attitude with your song of like the old Ramones and New York Dolls and stuff like that.
Well, you can take the kid out of New York, but you can't take the New York out of the kid, right? So I mean, I did grow up. I grew up on Long Island and New York, and was a huge Kiss fan. From like 76 to 1980, Kiss ruled the world. I mean, I was into everything. I got bit by the rock and roll bug early, and it changed my life from like a very early age, like when most kids are figuring out how to play video games, I was playing records and living in a rock and roll world from a little person on. So, I had bands. I used to drag guitars to my neighbor's house, down the street or whatever. I didn't have a case for my guitar. I just, I could barely manage the thing, but I just knew that it was for me. So Ramones, discovered the Ramones and the New York Dolls. My mom was a glam rocker. She took me to like Rocky Horror Picture Show when it was on off Broadway in Manhattan, and they pulled me out of the audience, and it was crazy. I mean, for a 6-year-old kid to go through that, it was life changing. Rocky Horror and Kiss at age 6 and 7, put it all in focus for me. I mean, but I was always into music when I was a little kid, spinning records, Beatle records and Rolling Stones records. But, when it got theatrical, like Alice Cooper and Kiss, and I remember I discovered Kiss through my babysitter. She came over one day with the Kiss 45 with, Rock and Roll Night Party Every Day, and a magazine with pictures of Kiss in it. And she showed, you're going to love this, Johnny, you're going to love this. Check this out. She put the record on and showed me the pictures, and it was like the Bible opened up, the rock and roll Bible. The light came out, like it all made sense. The Rocky Horror Picture Show and the way I felt about rock and roll music when I saw those bands do it that way. I mean, it really hooked me, man. And my mom had like platform shoes. I remember as a kid, I'd dress up in my mom's glitter platform shoes and parade around with a tennis racket, and just really acted out like theatrically.
Yeah. Now,
but it was fun. Evel Knievel. I mean, I'm a product of the 70s, an only child. I was like raised on TV. I Dream of Jeannie, and everything went to that level. I Dream of Jeannie, right? You think of how sexy she was, right? Everything that I was into went for that sexy thing. Evil Knievel and the leather and the motorcycle and all the things we were into. I haven't changed much.
Yeah, well, pop culture in the '70s was pretty incomparable. There was just so much to see and pay attention to. So, what year did you get into Kiss? Like when you said you were 6 or 7, what year are we talking?
I guess I was about 75,
Yeah.
1975. 1975 was the year that like a lot of young kids discovered Kiss. You know what I mean? Because when you look at the pictures in the crowds in the early concerts, there's no kids there. You know what I mean? I was like, the first group of those 7, 8, 9-year-old kids getting dragged to Kiss concerts by their parents, and it was great. My mom took me one year, and she wore a glitter Kiss. It had the Kiss letters and glitter rhinestones, and she had really big boobs, and the shirt was really low cut with this like. And everywhere we went in Madison Square Garden, the guys were hooting and hollering. I'm like, "Hey, that's my mom! Like, your mom's rocking, man. Your mom's so hot." I'm like, then I realized, yeah, my mom is hot, and I felt good about it.
That's too funny.
So your mom was pretty supportive of you taking the rock and roll route then.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they thought like you grow out of it or whatever, but it's when you become a teenager and you start like fucking up that they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I don't blame them. If my kid starts doing the things I did as a kid, I'm going to be very nervous. But hopefully, he won't be as reckless. I mean, there's been a guardian angel. There's been a guardian angel in my life. It's like the piano's fallen. I used to say this about my friends in rock and roll that have longevity. It's like the piano falls and it just misses them. Like, they're that person.
Mm-hmm.
But I realize I've been that person because things that I got away with, as a young person, partying, getting high, driving around, asking my buddy, "Am I driving in between the right lines, man?" Like, how fucked up can you be? Like tripping on acid driving and listening to Black Sabbath and just blowing your mind out. So those people that did that, like partied in the woods, drank the keg until you rolled down the hill, like did the acid, like stared at the album covers, tripping out, playing Black Sabbath, lighting a candle in the middle of the room, like that was me. I did those things.
Well, yeah, I do know, if anybody follows Johnny on social media and that, you've really taken to the internet and marketing yourself with social media. I do know that that on your page, when you went down to Florida, you did some videos of you at your mom's house and in her closet and it was just a whole array of all these glam outfits and that, and your mom was really cool about it and stuff. That's got to be good.
When she realized I was in there and I was on live camera, she's like wanting to show off her stuff, but yeah, she hasn't changed. She's always had a cool style, Back in the 70s, she had really long straight hair. Like she ironed it. I remember as a kid, like watching my mom iron her hair, with an iron on an ironing board, straighten her, like it was Cher long, like when, past her ass. And like, I don't know, I flat ironed my hair today. Like, me and my mom, there's like a certain, style that was passed down. I mean, that's the glam rock side of me for sure. Yeah, but she's 75 now and still has a closet full of clothes that most rock and rollers would dream of.
Yeah, really.
That's awesome. So coming up, I read a little bit of your bio, and so you came up as a teenager in the New York scene. So I'm assuming you started playing clubs when you were in New York. So, like, what kind of clubs and what other bands were around the scene when you started playing out?
Well, there were always great bands in New York and lots of great places to see them. And I went out as much as I could and, used to go to the bigger shows at the Ritz and, experience CBGBs and, and the Continental and Webster Hall, and as a young man, would go out regularly to bars in the East Village, Ace Bar. We used to go. There was a thing at the bank on Houston Street. Used to go to the Scrap Bar. I mean, infamous Scrap Bar. Every New York sleazy rocker has dragged themselves out of there. I used to just go out to see what I could find a lot of times. I mean, when I went out solo, I would go out to where I heard something cool was going on and wander around. And I always found great things to do in New York. I mean, start out one place, end up 4 other places.
Right.
But some of the bands were like Monster Magnet.
Yeah.
Was big in the end of the 80s, I was a big Guns N' Roses fan when they first came out, and saw them at Sundance on Long Island, and got thrown out for like strumming Slash's guitar with a pick he threw me.
Really?
Yeah, no, the band was totally cool with it. It's like, but some security guard thought I was doing something, because he saw me like this hitting the guitar, but I had a pick in my hand that he tossed to me, and I was strumming the guitar. He was bringing the guitar over, going like this, and I was strumming. So, but the guy threw me out. I was really drunk. He threw me out, and there's like the tour bus is there, and I'm in the back of the club, and I'm locked out. But I go in. There's another door, and I open up that door, and it lets me in a passageway, and then I'm like under the stage in a crawl space, looking up through a light in the floor, a hole, and there's Axl. Oh, there he goes, and then Slash would stand over me, and I'm under the stage in the back of this club.
Wow.
And it was pretty cool. And I watched the rest of the show from there. And then I wandered out as drunk. And I wandered right into the line of the band and entourage as they were all coming out this door. I got thrown out and right onto the bus in the line. I just got on the bus, the Guns N' Roses tour bus. And like they didn't turn any lights on. It was really dark. And like half the band and people went to the back of the bus. And then there was a couple of the band members and some chicks and some other hangers on that were in the front, and then they smoked this huge joint. I don't know what was in that joint. I got so stoned. I was already drunk. So eventually, like, the dawn's coming up the light and the bus has got to go. He starts the bus. Okay, everyone off the bus. It isn't going to the next place. So I'm not going to the next place. I should have, but I got off the bus, and that was an experience. So
wow.
Yeah.
That must have been one of their first tours, too, if they're playing clubs at that time.
Yeah, it was the first time they came to town. And we had been hearing about them for months before that. We were going out to L'Amour's. That's where I saw a lot of shows, L'Amour's Brooklyn and L'Amour's Queens. Everyone went through there. And as a young person, I saw a Wasp. I saw Metallica. I saw Slayer in the early club days. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Wow. And then on the glam side, bands like Tekashi, and in Queens, it was not uncommon to run into Eric Carr, who he would come to hang out at L'Amour's Queens, and got to spend an evening, well, not an evening, but a little bit of an evening sitting at his table talking with him about music and being in Kiss, and that was cool. The whole thing is, we learned how to be cool when we met famous people. Like, you had to know when to, approach them, and then when to get the hell out of there so that they still respect you the next time you show up, Yeah.
You got to learn to read a room when you're around famous people. Just like, am I staying too long, or have I asked too many fanboy questions?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I haven't had any questions for someone, and then sometimes lightning struck, and I had a million questions, and I didn't mind asking them. Right. For a little time back in the Space Age Playboys days, that was a band I was in LA with Kory Clarke from Warrior Soul. Space Age Playboys, check them out. We had like one really great record and a live record and a couple cool tours, playing festivals in Europe and opening for big bands, and that was a great experience. But
to bring up Kory Clarke, I've never met the guy, but like I've always gotten the impression that Kory was a little crazy. Am I wrong in that, or am I right?
Yeah, I mean, being in the band with Kory and several other people, me included, of just like, personalities that caused fire, and for certain personalities just erupt in flame. You don't even feel the friction. It's just like blowout. Mm-hmm. But that was a great band. I mean, I stand behind that record. It just got re-released. I think Kory worked with a label over in Europe and remastered it and re-released the Space Age Playboys record, which was, I think, called New Rock Underground. And then there was a Live in London record. But that brings me to the story I was going to tell, which was that at one point in time, Space Age Playboys shared a rehearsal space with Motley Crue. And this is when Motley Crue was kind of on the outs with Tommy and Vinny, what's his name? Vinny Castillo, right?
Oh,
The
Randy
drummer?
Castillo.
Randy, right. Randy Castillo was the drummer. And he was a really sweet guy. And, when it was kind of cool. I mean, didn't really know what they were doing. It seemed like they were just kind of figuring out what the direction of the crew was going to be at that point. But, when we'd finish up rehearsing, they would kind of come in and sit and check out a couple songs. And when they were wrapping up, we'd filter in there and check out a couple of their songs. It was kind of neat to share a rehearsal space with Motley Crue. The first time I met Mick Mars was like one of those moments. I looked at him, he looked at me. It was almost like, Dad, son? And we were instantly compelled to give each other a hug. And it was like one of those hugs that went on like a little bit too long. Like, is this going on too long? I'm thinking. But then he was still hugging me, so I was still hugging him. And that was just weird. It's like words. We didn't even need to speak words. We just had this hug like long lost brothers. And that was pretty cool. Because I loved Mick Mars. I thought he was the best guy in Motley Crue back then in the early days, man.
Yeah. He's a very cool guy. Man, so what is that you put there?
This is Warrior Soul, Space Age Playboys.
Yep.
And
that was the last record he did with Warrior Soul, and then his solo band was called Space Age Playboys.
I gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So, I was reading through the bio, and it seems like you got in on the .com thing really early as far as knowing how to market digital music. Can you share a little bit about that? Because, like in here, it mentions you got like 100,000 downloads of a song at one point.
We did. That was, I mean, by today's standards, a drop in the bucket. But back in 1997, 98, it was a pretty big number, and I got the home computer thing, like back when it was Netscape and early on. But there was a couple, Chris and Angie. Chris plays in Kickin' Valentina, and he brought this Space Age Playboys to his like one room apartment in North Hollywood because he had something called the internet, and there were people from around the world that we could communicate with, with our message boards,
right?
Which was a big thing. I remember going, I was like, oh, this is cool. There's people around the world. That was kind of my first taste of like, the online communications. It wasn't much after that I got a computer. And for some reason, I don't know the details, but was tuned into the MP3 thing pretty early on and got my band on the mp3.com. You guys might remember mp3.com. It was kind of one of the first services where you could buy MP3s.
Yep.
And I remember explaining, I did this, it was while we were sharing the space with Motley Crue and Space Age Playboys, I got hired out to be this guitar player for this project that was going to have Snoop Dogg and Tommy Lee in it. So they put us in this house in Atlanta, and we were recorded for 3 weeks, and the engineer on that product was Chris Renner. Chris Renner was the drummer for Nine Inch Nails and did programming for Trent Reznor. So here I am, wet behind the ears kind of thing, showing up at this house with Chris Renner, and he's building a computer that he's going to record with, and he's showing me all about it. It's just me and him and Chris Renner, who was a computer, recording genius and programmer at that point. So there's my first crash course, like put a computer together with Chris Renner and have him show you how to record music with it. So after that session, I went back to LA. We were still using ADATs, to like record stuff. I'm like, man, we got to get on this computer thing. We got to mix our songs down to MP3s. We could get them all over the world. And we got signed up to mp3.com, did pretty well. And I explained to the guys in Motley Crue what an MP3 was. I mean, maybe one of them had heard something about it, but I basically explained to Nikki Sixx what an MP3 was, what you could do with it, and that they should join MP3.com. I said I was talking to Snoop. He's going to join. So they did join MP3.com, and Snoop and Motley Crue were the first big artists to join MP3.com. It was kind of like the heyday of it, soon after that.
Right.
But yeah, Space Age Playboys were the first band on the MP3.com to have 100,000 downloads of a song. And that coincided with a tour we did in Europe, and we got to open shows for festival shows, and Motorhead and Monster Magnet was on a bill. That was great because I kind of follow those guys a little bit in New York, and like, hey, I saw you guys, back at the club scene. It's kind of cool to kick it backstage at a festival with them, opening up for them.
Well, to go back, what was the Snoop Dogg and Tommy Lee project you were working on?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was rumored to be called The Outsiders, right? And I don't know how much they carried on. I think a little bit after the Atlanta sessions that they went back to LA and they kind of worked with different producers to do it. But it was basically 3 weeks in a farmhouse outside Atlanta, a quarter mile from where they filmed Deliverance, right?
Oh, wow.
And this house was formerly owned by the baseball legend Ty Cobb. It's like his
for
house.
real?
For real, dude.
Wow.
And there was memorabilia in this house from when Ty Cobb lived there.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they put us up for 3 weeks, and I got there a day early and got to know Chris and build the computer. Then the next day, Tommy showed up, and remember he got a call, and it's Pamela Anderson's calling him. He's like in the middle of doing something, so he like picks up the phone and says, "Hey Pam, talk to Johnny for a minute. I'm busy." And like just throws me the phone. I'm like, Pamela Anderson literally lands in my lap, right? I mean, every schoolboy's, Baywatch fantasy. I'm like, hey, you got to play it off. Hey, Pammy, what's happening? Yeah, kicking it here with T. Lee, and we're gonna make some cool rock and roll music, and we'll see what he can do and how he could rap over it. And then Snoop Dogg came with his entourage, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot I really can't talk about for legal reasons, but hygiene. It was funny. The locals found out that Snoop Dogg was there, and every one of these locals must have been growing pot, because every day they came over with a bag full, literally like a grocery paper bag stuffed with weed. Like, is Snoop here? Does he want to buy me a bag of weed? Like, yeah, he's got his own stash, for one thing. And I don't know if he's going to buy like a full bag from a total stranger.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got stuck paying for one of those bags. Thanks, Snoop. Yeah. All those big rock stars, they always have a way to get out of actually paying the cash. There's always someone like me, like around, like, oh, okay, I'll cover it. But hey, how often can you say that you bought Snoop Dogg a bag?
Right.
I'm not. He wanted me to roll a big spliff for him, and I'm like, I just met him like moments before he came in the house, and he came up the stairs, and I kind of gave him the what's up. I was in my room, and like kind of gave him the sign, like, yeah, I think that's your room across the hall. And so he went over there, and he like looked back, and he's like, do you smoke? I'm like, yeah. So I walk over there, I'm like, wow, I'm gonna smoke with Snoop Dogg. This is amazing. It was like right out of a movie.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, why don't you roll us up one? And he points to the table, and there's like a box of we put it down, a box of Tipperillos and a bag of weed. I'm like, I don't see any papers, but playing it cool. I get out some weed, and I'm breaking it up. And I'm like, oh, you got papers? You go, oh, use one of them leaves, like, I'm like, oh my God. So now I got to unroll the Tipperillo thing. I don't roll like that. That's not the way I smoke my weed, right?
Right.
Under pressure, right? First roll in front of Snoop Dogg, like with some foreign, like, but I'm getting it there. I got the paper. He's kind of looking at me like, it's taking you a little while there, white boy, to finish that roll. And like, I noticed he looked at me. I had it all ready to go. I'm like, I want to see the master do this. So I played it off cool.
Oh,
okay,
good
cool.
play
Yeah.
off, yeah.
and it was ready to go. It was all broken up, crushed in there. The leaves out, and literally, it was like lickety split. He licked it, went, and it was done.
Oh yeah, he could do it in his sleep, I'm sure.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was big though, man. That thing was like, it was a big stogie.
Oh, I bet. Man,
So yeah, it's my Snoop Dogg. Sorry,
that's an awesome story.
he was cool, but we got to jam like in the kitchen at night. Go
Mhm.
in there, he'd burn a joint with me. We'd sit in the kitchen. I'd be like playing riffs like he'd be rapping. I like that, Johnny. It's cool. Snoop Dogg come through, down. He'd be like rapping over it.
Oh, that's cool.
But there was definitely like there was a wanting to bring those two, the hip hop world and the rock and roll world together. I mean, it's been done with Run DMC and Aerosmith, and it's been done with Run DMC and Earl Slick and that whole thing, and Beastie Boys did it, and
Anthrax and Public Enemy. Yeah,
right. So
that's cool.
I don't know. People try to do it. I mean, I knew guys in the porn industry out in LA who wanted to make legitimate movies. They were convinced that they could make like cinema, like with their porn. And, it's kind of like Boogie Night stuff. And Johnny, we want your music. It's like going to be rock and roll and porn in a castle. And the girls would be wearing dresses. I'm like, well, how long are they going to be wearing dresses for? I mean, it's a porn. Like,
Not very
what's your
long.
budget? I eventually met the guy who like made the $1 million porn. He went to a location in Europe and in England somewhere and rented a castle and had the women all and the men in period pieces and did this Edwardian, But at the end of the day, it didn't move any more than units than if it was the pizza guy in the back of the RV, like.
Or the plumber showing up to fix the pipes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know Eddie,
Why does my
Eddie,
plumber keep showing up when I'm not home?
Yeah. Well, I know Eddie Van Halen did a porn soundtrack at one point. Yeah. So
Yeah, Tattoo Millionaires were nominated for 2 AVN awards
really?
back-to-back years for like best soundtrack in a porn. But we didn't win. Someone had a better soundtrack. I thought my music went pretty good for the action scenes. It's when it's when it slowed down that it got a little weird. But
Wow.
yeah, what was it like? You hear these stories and the myths of rock and roll, and these legendary rockers living that lifestyle out in LA, and the wild chicks and the wild times, and fast times on the Sunset Strip, and you're like, well, I want to experience that. Is it what they make it out to be? I mean, can I survive this? Maybe I want to abuse myself some more. I don't know, whatever reason, but yeah, I mean, it took a guy in the porn. I got a little nervous. I'm like, oh, my fans, the MySpace was coming out. We were connecting with a whole bunch of younger fans. I'm like, well, I don't think they're going to dig this porn thing too much. And my friend's like, the only thing that can hurt you is the things you let hurt you, Johnny. But I got out of it because the fan, I want to play and I want to inspire all kinds of people, you know what I mean? And, if you're the band doing porn music, I mean, it's really doesn't go that far and it's such a small niche. I mean, I want to be more than just the porn band.
Yeah, really.
So when you so you start out in LA, but then you wound up in LA. When did you move out to LA?
I moved out to LA in 94.
94. So
yeah,
and we've talked to a few people that were around at that time, and it was a big time of transition for the Sunset Strip. So it's like the hairband stuff was completely pretty much gone by then. And so what do you remember about the rock scene at that time? Was it strong or was it weak or was it gone or what?
It was strong and it was underground.
Yeah.
When I moved out there, the whiskey was closed and no one was hanging out on the Sunset Strip. It's just weird. I mean, I had band members who had girlfriends or boyfriends that worked up on the strip, so I always went to the Rainbow for dinner. I mean, that was the Rainbow always weathered the storm, right?
Yeah.
but like there wasn't much going on in the club scene up there. It was all going on in Hollywood, a little place called Bar Deluxe, and there was like a rockabilly punk scene going on. It was pretty glammy, you know. I mean, and there were a lot of underground parties, you know. And I had a '67 Cougar with like lake pipes on it. It was really loud, and a pompadour. They call me like Johnny Suede as a joke, you know. Or this huge like pompadour. I dressed real flashy, and there were a lot of guys like me out there that had cool pompadours, cool cars. You know, we all loved the Dolls, we all loved the Pistols, but we were doing something, more in the rockabilly punk thing, and that was cool. And it went on for a few years, and then things kind of came back to life. You know, they started having shows at the Whiskey again, and that was good. I mean, played some good shows. I got to, open up for some cool bands at the Whiskey. Got to play some cool shows at the Key Club when it all came back, opening for Steel Panther. And, when here's an interesting story. When Space Age Playboys were first starting out, we used to play shows with a band called Sparrow, which ultimately became Buck Cherry. And it was cool to, be there at the Epicenter. Ricky Rackman started to do Cat House shows at Billboard Live, or, again, and that kind of brought things back. But there was always something going on. I mean, it was just way underground. It was like in East Hollywood and, areas that are now gentrified. But back then they were kind of still shady, the helicopters and gunshots going off. But there'd be cool clubs there, and we were having fun. We were packing clubs and having a riotous time.
Yeah. So, and I see the mention of Steve Jones in your bio. You got to have some Steve Jones stories, I'm sure.
Well, the Steve Jones story I kind of gave away a little bit, but back when there was interest in Space Age Playboys, there was interest in Sparrow, and there was interest from Steve Jones in producing a band. And he came around our studio one night, and I mainly met with him and sat with him. Kory was up doing something. He came down, we jammed a couple songs, and I sat with Steve and, started to play or he said, oh, my favorite is David Bowie or something, songwriter David Bowie. And he starts playing some Bowie, like Blue Jean. I'm like, yeah, I'm a big Bowie fan. So, I probably broke into a Bowie song. But we had a thing going, right? I was coming up with parts, and I said, well, I got this is kind of Bowie-like, and we were jamming on an original. I thought I could work with Steve Jones in the studio.
Right.
But ultimately, and then he said, I got this cool name for a band. I'm like, well, what's that? And he goes, Buck Cherry. I'm like, what? He's like, Buck Cherry. You get it? I'm like, get it? I'm like, well, I don't know. Kind of used to Space Age Playboys. Buck Cherry. He goes, no, Chuck Berry. I'm like, oh, Chuck Berry. I get it now. Buck Cherry, Chuck Berry. I go, and then I go, well, yeah. If you remember what John Lennon said, he was asked if you were going to call rock and roll something else, you could only call it Chuck Berry. So I thought that always stuck with me since I was a little kid. Like, yeah, if you were going to call rock and roll something else, you'd call it Chuck Berry. Yeah, I played Chuck Berry. I mean, it makes sense. People ask, oh, what kind of music are you? If you go back to the source, it's Chuck Berry, right? It's like those whole themes of like can't get the safety belt loose, like driving along in your automobile, like your girl beside you, you got money in your pocket, that whole feeling of excitement, opportunity, limitless possibilities, young love, young lust, rock and roll, blasting out of hi-fi stereos. That's the music I play. I mean, for me, it's more like updated to like 1979, like the Corvette Summer, the Endless Summer. 79, epicenter of rock and new wave and punk, and everything was just fucking so cool. And the movies were out. So, yeah, I'm kind of like living in around 1979.
That's cool. So does that mean Steve Jones came up with the band name Buck Cherry? He gave it to them? That's why I didn't know that.
That's what I know about it. That's what I know about it.
He just always struck me as like the coolest person on earth. I just thought he seems like such a cool guy.
I had, some great run-ins with Steve. He came to some of our shows. he brought friends to our shows. We did a residency at a club called Goldfingers, like every Tuesday or Thursday night for a month we were playing, and built up. By the third week, it's like Christy Alley's having her birthday party there. She got Christy Alley from Cheers and her friends in this corner, and Joey Triviani from Friends is standing right next to me, watching me play, and Ace Frehley's there, and Ian Ashbury from the Colts there, and Steve Jones is there, and you're looking out on this crowd. You're playing at this celebrity hotspot. All your like mentors and people you look up to, and it was awesome, and we rocked it, man. We just rocked it down, and they had smiles on their faces, and they watched it, and there was we inspired people back then with that band. It was very cool. We got off stage, and Steve Jones comes up to me, and Ace is here, and Steve is like, Johnny, your guitar sound amazing. It's the best guitar sound I've heard in 5 years. And then Ace goes, 5 years? That's the best guitar sound I heard in 10 years. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. Everybody's got to do the impression.
Hey, Johnny, you want a Coke or something? Yeah, yeah. Ace really bought me a Coke and told me I had a great guitar sound. I mean, that's it,
it's like I can die now.
It was very cool.
That is awesome.
Ace was fun. I mean, you guys love Kiss. We go on with Kiss. I'm sure there's some Kiss fans out there.
Yeah.
I never met the full band all together at one time, but I've met most of the members, on my own, one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Criss was out in LA. He was dating a girl who was doing some off Broadway theater group thing, right? Mm-hmm. But the theater group was right around the corner from Toy Restaurant, this famous sushi kind of, Asian restaurant, Toy. And for like 2 weeks, Peter Criss came in that bar every night and hung out with everyone. I mean, the first night, my buddy worked there. He's like, dude, you got to come down here. Peter Criss is hanging out at the bar. So I live right across the street. So I come over there. I'm like, playing it cool until the time is right, and we strike up a conversation, and before you know it, we're fast friends. And yeah, come tomorrow night. My girlfriend's doing the theater group each night, doing the play, and I'm coming over here. So for like 2 weeks, until it was like 20 people are there showing up each night to talk to Peter. He was holding court. It was cool, man. It was a lot of fun.
What year was that happen?
That was probably in 1995.
Okay.
94, 95. It was before the reunion thing in 96. Yeah, right before the reunion. When he was coming to LA. And then Ace Frehley was hanging out with some friends of mine in LA. His name will come to me. But he was like coming over to all his house parties and stuff and hanging out. So we started to hang out there, and my buddy had this loft apartment house, not a house, but like a big loft townhouse type thing with like a 3-story wall in one room, with like the balcony for the second floor and third floor overlooked this big room. There was a huge wall where he would project live concerts, life size. And he'd project the like 1975 era, Kiss Alive 1 era live concert. And it's like larger than life. And I'm sitting on the couch with Ace watching it, it could go on, and he's critiquing it and talking and making jokes about it, but, pointing out stuff he liked about it. And that was just a very cool and interesting perspective to have,
Yeah, the ultimate commentary, Ace right next to you talking about it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So yeah, Ace was coming out to LA for a while. I think then he went and sobered up. You guys come out to LA to party, right? And they go back.
Oh man. And what was your run-in with Paul Stanley like?
Paul Stanley, well, I dated a girl who worked in a yogurt shop on Sunset Plaza, and I was down there all the time, hanging out by her work. Or maybe it was one of the clothing boutiques. At any rate, I was spending a lot of time on Sunset Plaza, and actually started to work for some of the businesses there. And he, right around the time he had a little baby, used to come into the yogurt shop and the coffee shop and be down on the plaza shopping and having lunch all the time. So I met him several occasions, you know. He wouldn't let me hold the baby, but I did ask if I could hold the baby. He's like, no.
Protective dad.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
But, you know,
pleasant to deal with.
Oh yeah, I got to hang out and sit outside the coffee shop, you know, while he was excited young dad and talk about it. And, you know, it was kind of cool to see. I mean, you know, just a rock star and the other side, you know, the father's side, you know, I think about that now that I have a boy. He's 10 now, but, you know, back when I met Paul and he had a little baby, I was a swinging single guy. I mean, you know, no kids.
Right.
But I think about it now that I have a kid. Like when I had a little baby, I thought about how Paul was with his child.
Definitely changes you.
Yeah. Oh, I would have been an angry old man had I not had Thor. He's my boy, my pride and joy. You know, he taught me over the last 10 years how not to grow up into an angry, you know, angry old man.
Yeah.
Because when you're angry, I mean, you know, it's angry young kid, you know, I had a James Dean type attitude, live fast, you know, die young, stay pretty.
Yeah.
But
kids will bring you right back down to earth in a good way. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, plus I want to teach him all the cool stuff. I mean, he loves rock and roll. One of his favorite songs is, I said, what do you want to hear? And half the time it's Neon Nights from Black Sabbath. He loves that
Awesome.
Neon Nights song.
Good taste.
But or if he'll have me put a Kiss song he loves, I Want You. That's his favorite Kiss song.
Awesome. So did you have any run-ins with Gene?
Yeah, I had a run-in with Gene in New York City back at a club called the Limelight, which was a converted church, like a Gothic church. He turned into this legendary rock club called the Limelight. They had different nights. You know, Sunday night was the rock and roll church, and we'd go on Sunday nights. And even though it's Sunday, there's still party until dawn, you know?
Right.
But at some point in the night, in the later part of the night, me and like a couple band members or some rockin' fans, went upstairs to the top level, you know, as the church was very cavernous, right? And there's different rooms and different DJs doing things in parts of the church. And there's an upstairs like crow's nest thing. We go up there and there's Gene Simmons with this really attractive, kind of Brazilian looking young model type who he introduces us at his niece. Hey fellas, I'd like you to meet my niece. Like, your niece? Yeah, my niece. I'm like, okay, I get it, your niece, right? He's like, yeah, why don't you show my niece a good time? And he must have seen my face when he said that, because I'm like, what? Like, show her a good time? Like, yeah, we'll show her a good time. And he's like, not that good a time. just dance with her, you know? Dance with her. She wants to dance. So we took turns dancing with Gene Simmons' niece, and she was smoking hot Brazilian model. And at the end of the night, he bought us, you know, a few rounds of drinks. He wasn't drinking. I think he was drinking like, I don't know, salsa water or something. But he bought the boys and his niece around a couple rounds of drinks. It was nice, you know. I mean, we made small talk about the band, you know. But like, you know, half the planet loves Kiss, right? I grew up with Kiss. You know, you'll get the demographic, you know, like you're a guy this age, you know who I am, you probably realize how famous and, you know, you probably were a fan of my band. So, you know, when I always try to kind of approach it in a little more of an obscure way, you know, like we all do. Like, I'm going to say that one witty thing, you know, that's going to make them say, oh, yeah, wow, you really get it, right?
Right.
So, yeah. That doesn't always work out. Like one time at a bar in LA, I was at some thing, and Matt Dillon was there, and a few other celebrities were there, but Matt Dillon was there, and Matt Dillon, you know, he was in the Outsiders, and I think Matt Dillon's cool, you know.
Great actor.
This was kind of before like Something About Mary, you know. So I see Matt Dillon, he comes up to the bar, and I'm at the bar, and he's at the bar, and he kind of shakes his head, you know. I had the big pompadour, so everyone thought my hair was cool, you know, give me the look. He gives me the look. I gave him the look. And then he turns to order, and I whisper in his ear. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I can't tell it.
Oh,
Anyway,
come on.
No.
You can't do that and not pay it
All right.
off.
All right. I whisper in his ear, Rumblefish. You guys remember his movie Rumblefish?
I remember the name, but I don't remember. I don't think
Okay,
I've
well,
seen
it was a Matt Dillon movie he was in, and it was like kind of like an Outsiders thing, but it was
Right.
Rumblefish. So I whispered in his ear. I turned to him. I said, Rumblefish, and he looked at me like, "What? That's weird, man. That's just weird." He says to me, and he walks off. What? That's just weird.
He freaked him out.
I freaked him out. I didn't mean to freak him out. I mean, I meant to freak him out a little bit, but not like freak him out where he's just like, I'm like, I guess I crossed the line with that.
Yeah. He's like, who's this psycho whispering in my ear?
Rumblefish.
Rumblefish.
Who knows what that means in his world? Like me to the bathroom stall in 10 minutes. Yeah. So things are opening up. Did you see that Cheap Trick's playing?
Yes.
And Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts got on some bills, and I was told to get a hold of the Cheap Trick people and try to get on some shows. So that's going to be my goal. People are like, what's your goal, Johnny? What are you going to open for Cheap Trick this year? Is a goal of mine. I think it's doable. I love the band. They've been informed about me. Hopefully they've listened to some music. But
they were doing they did a TV appearance on Stephen Colbert's show, but they taped it here in Nashville at SIR in one of the rehearsal studios, which was really cool because when they showed it on TV, I'm like, I know where that is. That's here in Nashville. But Tom Peterson, that dude's a warrior, man. He had just had heart surgery and he still got up there and did it. He had to sit down, but he pulled it off. But yeah, I mean, they're going to be back full steam ahead. The Motley tour just got canceled, but I think theater shows, club shows, and all that, I think is going to come back pretty quickly.
Yeah, I love theaters. I like seeing bands when they're coming up. You know what I mean? Before it's gone mainstream and big, I like to see them in the clubs or those intimate theaters. And one of the best shows I ever saw. I'm wearing my Def Leppard shirt tonight. Was nice. The Def Leppard opening for Ozzy at the Ocean State Arts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. And that was the Blizzard of Oz tour and the On Through the Night. And it was, I've seen a lot of cool shows and a lot of like unique peaks, like sound checks when you're at, just stumble into a place and almost, there's Iggy Pop doing a sound check or something, cool stuff like that. Yeah. But that concert was just, Def Leppard was on fire. I mean, they never were that band again. It became something else.
Yeah.
But that first American tour with Pete Willis, right?
Yeah.
And Ozzy with Randy, and I think Rudy and Randy were both wearing like red leather that night. I don't know, man. It was just the pinnacle of a rock night at a cool club. I don't know, what, 2,000, 3,000 people in this theater.
Wow.
And it was, saw Ozzy again with Zakk Wylde was pretty good at like the Paramount in New York. I mean, that's more like 8,000, but if you're up in the front rows, it's still pretty intimate,
Who's Karen Jetson saying Johnny whispered Rumblefish in my ear too?
Karen's my wife. Is she tuning in?
I thought so, yeah.
She left that comment. She says she didn't run away.
I hooked her with it. I was like, Rumblefish. Let me try it again.
Well, there you go. Didn't work on Matt Dillon, but
yeah.
Okay, I'll play a Kiss riff, and you guys got to name it. Who's going to name it quicker? Ready?
Oh.
Making love.
All right.
Calling Dr. kicking your ass. Love
You're doing fine.
All right, we got time for one more.
Yeah, you got time.
Yeah.
I don't know one more.
Oh, my favorite Kiss song, Black Diamond.
Okay, you know that one. Hit it. Is anyone else in the audience getting the Kiss jokes?
Yeah, a few people have been calling it out.
Right on.
Although I love this one. One person, Paul Kornguest, never going to give you up. So he's rickrolling you.
Yeah.
What is that one?
I don't know. Flying in 747.
Oh, Rocking in the USA.
Passing around the pearly gates. And I'm coming real close to heaven. And my guitar
that's
just
one
can't
song.
wait.
That's one song that Gene's solo band tried to get him to play live, and he just wouldn't do it. He hates that song.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he's embarrassed by it.
Huh. It's a pretty cool riff. It's
Cheesy lyrics, but you know. I don't know. Let's see who gets it in the audience first. What's that? What song is it? There you go, Rocket Ride.
Yep, you make me feel inside. Okay, moving on from Kiss songs. I chose at random real quick before the show started. 5. Am I still upside down?
For me, you are, but I'm the only person. I can read it though.
5 must listen to just this weekend.
All right.
And here they are.
Right.
In honor of doing the Decibel Geek tonight. We've got the first Kiss.
This is a first.
You can't go wrong with that one.
Can't go wrong with the first one, right?
That,
I mean,
that is a must.
They're hungry and there's attitude. Cheap Trick in color.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to narrow it down to one Cheap Trick record because so many of them are chocked with so many great songs. But for me, if there's just one, to listen to, it's in color.
Probably either.
Are they upside down now?
Yeah.
Now it's right side up for me.
Speaking of the
yeah, legendary.
I mean, we all know the song's Crazy Train. I don't know. They play it on the radio every day.
The rest of the album's amazing.
Yeah. When you go from Mr. Crowley to No Bones Movies and you're ending that side with Steal Away the Night.
Yes.
And plus, Randy Rhoads was just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or put on the list. Mm-hmm. Is he on the short list?
I think he was inducted, yeah.
Yeah, he was inducted.
Yeah, so go listen to that. Or some old Quiet Riot. We got the New York Dolls.
Oh, I love the New York Dolls.
We got the New York Dolls. Too Much Too Soon with the awesome shot from when they played Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Yeah.
And
rest in peace, Sylvain.
Recently, I saw a picture of LA DJ Rodney Bingenheimer. You guys know Rodney on the Rock, right? Rodney Bingenheimer.
Yeah.
There's a picture of him that like the Getty group has sitting behind this drum set on that stage.
Oh, really? I'll have to look
yeah,
for that.
like he was like at soundcheck or something.
Oh, that's wild.
It's a great shot of him. And for our metal fans, something old school, but I love the guitar sound on this. My guitar, if you put it up to that, the sound of British Steel is nearly identical.
British Steel's amazing. Recorded in Ringo Starr's house or John Lennon's house? I can't remember which. But yeah, I believe so.
Ron, sing it. Come on, Ron. living after midnight, rocking to the dawn, loving till the morning. I'm gone, I'm gone. Took the city about 1 a.m. Come on, Chris. That's a fun record to play along to.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And good point, Amber. The Rodney Bingenheimer documentary, Mayor of Sunset Strip, is a must see if you've never seen it.
Yeah.
I agree with Amber.
Yeah, that's a great documentary.
It's worth seeing.
Yeah, that guy's history is amazing.
Yeah, it is. And you see photos of him. He's like with John Lennon and Yoko Ono, you know, and he's with Jimi Hendrix. He's with Brian Jones of the, Rolling Stones, like
he knew everybody.
Sonny and Cher, and then translated the generations. I mean, he broke Van Halen. Yeah. The guys in Van Halen cite Rodney as, their main reason that they got where they went was Rodney, and so many other bands, Ramones. I mean, we can go on all night, but yeah, the documentary.
For as far as DJs go, I think he championed more bands and broke more bands, I think, than any other DJ ever did. I think he's a leader.
Yeah,
of all of them.
He's on equal of what those guys like Alan Freed were doing, and they were breaking rock and roll and playing, all those, new sounds and new faces. And he's played my music, and I'm really honored that he has, because, I think he's got really great taste. He doesn't play bad music. Like when you listen to his radio show, he's got a certain taste, and he played my songs.
Yeah, and breaks the corporate line all the time, where I'm not just going to stick to your playlist. I'm going to play somebody nobody's heard that I think is worth playing, and he's one of the last people that can get away with doing that.
No, yeah.
Unless you host a podcast like we do.
You guys can play almost anyone.
Yeah, well, we're going more for independent artists now because of all the copyright crackdown stuff that happened. So it's better to play unsigned bands and bands that need the attention than. I mean, we could play Rat again, but everybody has the Rat records. Let's play something else.
I like Rat. I like the guitar sound in Rat too, and the amp I have was used on a Rat record. The sound of my records, like when you guys, if you listen to them ever, or if anyone out there listens to the guitar sound, it's my Magic Randall Switchmaster amp that I got on one rainy night from Van Nuys. The studio was closing down. It turned out to be Sound City. They've done documentaries. Dave Grohl resurrected that studio.
Great documentary.
Right. I happened upon, when they were selling off the gear, seeing an ad on Craigslist or something, went out to the Valley one night and got to buy a couple amps and bought that Randall Switchmaster, which was used on like a Tom Petty record, Rat record, a bunch of other people. And this is just turn this thing on and up, and that's it. You turn the EQs down, all the things down, and it's just that sound built in. It's cool.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Oh.
I used to have to like, use outboard effects to get the tone I wanted. For anyone out there, gearheads, used to use a Sans amp, and I had a Marshall Jubilee and a JCM 800 and a Randall Jazz Chorus, running those three amps together on stage to get my sound. And now the sound comes out of that one little amp. It's really cool. I mean, it's a 100-watt amp. You could plug it into a stack and be loud at a concert, but I just run it straight into the board and everything, no EQ on anything. It's just the sound of that amp and the guitar. I think it sounds pretty good.
Ron, you cover for a minute. I gotta step out for a second.
Oh, okay.
Probably could use my treble pickup there. I've been thinking about you, Ron.
Yeah.
I'm praying.
Oh, thank
for
you, man.
Yeah, it's people like you that really make the thing go. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people just sit on their ass and wait for it to happen, you know? And I like the fact that you've been dedicated to rock and roll for a long time.
Oh yeah, I just like you, man. I live and breathe it and keep going. I'm not gonna sit on my ass or anything. I got too much to do. You know, I'm gonna keep going out to the shows and that. Have you heard about the Rockin' Pod that we're putting on?
Just from the couple of commercials I saw, but it looks cool. So you're going to be in Nashville?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in
Right
Nashville
on.
in August. I don't know if you come around the Nashville area at all, anything, but so
Yeah,
you're
I might because I love Nashville. I mean, I've gone there, and there's a good friend of mine named Benny Carl who plays down there from the Tip. You know that band, the Tip?
oh
Ron? Did
yeah,
you ever hear of the Tip?
oh yeah, I love
Oh,
the Tip.
you know Benny's one of the best. I mean, he's exciting, beautiful showman. I mean, he's a great front man.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic harmonica player. He's got the killer clothes and the killer look. I know
Yeah.
his band jams. He plays in some cover bands. They're out on like the strip there, you know, packing them in. And I don't know what he's doing with his original music, but I thought recently he said he was coming out with some new music. What
Yeah.
bands you got lined up for your Nashville gig?
We're doing the pre-party show that Friday night. We got Resistant Bite, which is Tommy Sciot's from Tesla. It's his new band, and we're doing a Rare Hair thing with Tyson Leslie, and that's just going to be anybody and everybody getting up and just doing a big old jam session throughout the night, you know. So we're gonna welcome all the guests and anybody that wants to, you know, get up and jam along with the Rare Hair.
That sounds fun.
We got a couple of acoustic performances by Ron Keel and I think Jason Beeler is going to do something. It's going to be an all-around party that whole weekend.
I bet. Sounds like a good time, man. I should make arrangements to come down to Nashville for that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we'd love to have you, man.
That would be fun. Yeah, I've been down in Nashville for Kid Rock's Fish Fry. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, it was like an outdoor festival all day, hang out, bands playing, and then Kid Rock blows the stage up at the end. It's pretty cool.
All right.
But I had more fun checking out the bands, you know, on the Strip in Nashville. What do they call the Strip in Nashville? Does it have a certain name, or is it just a strip?
Just Broadway.
Yeah, Broadway.
I've had some good times there and some good shows there. I mean, we rolled that bus across America, Tattooed Millionaires, and one night we rolled into Nashville. We didn't have a show or anything. We just kind of pulled the bus there in one of those streets off Broadway, and we walked around, and within a few minutes, right on the street there was a bar that said, "Sure, you guys can play." So just so happens Metallica was playing that Forum Stadium thing that's right there that night. So we billed it as an after Metallica party, right? We put a sign up on Broadway in the corner and got a lot of people from the concert up to the show.
Oh, that's cool.
But they didn't want to hear Tattooed Millionaires music. They wanted to hear Metallica music. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, you know, something came back to me like, You know that one, right?
Yeah, Seek and Destroy. I used to play that in bands.
Yeah. So I just broke into that, and the place went ape shit. I mean, ape
Awesome.
shit. So we got to play like a few of our songs, and then they're like, "Play Metallica again." They go crazy again. Play like half the song.
Yeah.
Go in a couple more of our songs, and then it happened again. Play
Yeah.
the fucking Metallica, man. What are you playing this shit for? But you know, they hung with us. They hung tough with us, and you know, every once in a while we broke up the monotony with like, you know, a half of Metallica song
Yeah.
from memory.
Metallica fans are a rare breed for sure. They love their band.
Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me, when Kiss came through on the farewell tour in 2000, the first farewell tour, and we a bunch of us Kiss fans went to this little cafe thing, and they had a house band playing, and they were playing regular, you know, stuff you would hear, and then they broke into She, and everybody just went crazy. It was like, wow, you're playing Kiss song. There you go.
What was it?
There you go.
I haven't tried to play that one in a while.
Or you could play the Wicked Lester version with the horn section.
Yeah, those guys came a long way from like that, from like, yeah, Wicked Lester doing horns to Plaster Caster.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Kiss record, Ron?
The Elder.
It's between the first three. It changes every day, but
You could have
I
just
go
said the originals, right?
those
The originals
those first three albums, you just can't beat them in my book. You know, but you know, it varies. I can listen to all of it at any given time. You know, depending on what mood I'm in. Even the Elder.
Sometimes I'm in, you know, even the Elder. Yeah, well, I believe in me is a great song.
That's the one song on that record that really sounds like Kiss still. The rest of it does not so much. But
you know, we were such big Kiss fans that we wanted to like it. We wanted to like Unmasked. We wanted to find stuff on Dynasty to like. We wanted to like the Elder, and then it came out with Lick It Up, and I mean, I remember at the time getting excited about it because it was like a return to, you know, the hard driving Kiss that we heard on Destroyer, and you know, but more metalized. I mean, it became more metalized. It was never the same, but
right.
Sometimes I'm in that. I mean, I think the first three Kiss records, I mean, it's kind of dark, and it kind of, you know, the cover, Hotter Than Hell always threw me, you know, like, cover's so bizarre, you know, it's like, it's darkness, you know, it's like when Kiss, when Peter Criss was still walking around with knives and loaded guns, you know, I mean, it was, they've taken pictures, weird pictures with chicks, you know, half naked with covered in blood, and I mean, they dropped that whole thing, right, when they became a teeny bopper band.
Yep. They were kind of dangerous before Destroyer.
Right, when it caught on with the young people and the marketing changed, and you know, they kind of dropped that whole thing. But it was dark. And then sometimes I'm like in that Destroyer, you know, Rock and Roll Over Love Gun era. But to me, those are the kind of the two real eras of Kiss, because I mean, we know now that the band was fragmenting even by Love Gun, you know.
Right.
And you know, some guys didn't play on the records that we always thought they played, you know. I mean, when the facade broke down, when we realized they weren't from other planets and they didn't have superhuman powers, you know, and what do you mean he drinks too much and they can't get along like that? That's things my parents go through, not my rock stars, right?
Yeah.
And then it all just comes crumbling down. But there were a few good years of Kiss where, you know, for me anyway, speaking for me, where, the sky was the limit. We were really going to take over the world, and, Kiss was going to lead us to the higher sonic temple or whatever,
Mhm. Yeah. No,
I was,
I long for that.
It
Those
sounds
days too.
funny, but it's true.
Well, yeah, and Aaron and I started this podcast 10 years ago, and one of the big goals was, well, let's talk to people from behind the scenes and get the real story behind Kiss's history. And it was great to learn all this stuff, but it also kind of sucks because it's like now I kind of think I know too much about the band to appreciate them like I used to.
right. I just want to know, like, all I want to know about Kiss is what I learned through the records and those little inserts of the things you can mail away for, and the tattoos that came in alive too. And, I mean, I was young enough to really like Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park when it was on that Halloween, like, but then everyone, you look back on it and it's pretty hokey, but that night I watched it when I was 10 years old or whatever, it was pretty freaking cool.
Well, yeah, because I mean, especially back then, because you rarely got to see them on television, and there was a lot of kids that hadn't seen them live yet, so this is the first chance they got to see them move around and be, and actually be right there in front of them.
It reminds me, half of the reason we feel the way we do about it is because they've all like said how much they hated it and how much it sucked. If they didn't do that, people wouldn't think that. It's a case of what I said about my friend in LA. Like, the only thing that can hurt Kiss, and they learned this later on, is Kiss. Is the things that you let hurt you. So they could have just laughed about it. Yeah, we made a TV show. It was fucking awesome. Yeah, Ace partied a lot, and I forgot my lines, but it was a blast, man. They could have just said that, and it'd be like, yeah, well, it kind of sucks, but hey, they had fun, and it was a blast, so it must have been cool, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's a critic on these things over the years, and you're just like told it was childish, or I used to have to defend Kiss to the older kids, man, and defend Kiss to guys that grew up on Led Zeppelin and the Who and the Doors and that stuff, and you're trying to sell that Kiss is better than that. Like when you're 8, they're better than that because they're your hope for a better fucking world than the world that you see grown-ups fucking up, and Kiss gave kids hope that the world was going to be the same shit show that our parents made it, like Vietnam and bullshit 70s and oil crisis and war and famine and the whole fucking thing. And here we are, and now rock and roll, I think, is needed, and that attitude that Kiss brought is needed more than ever.
Yeah.
Because the whole world is a shitty shit show, and times are hard and things are fucked, so we all want something to believe in, and rock and roll can still be those things as long as people don't keep beating it up and making fun of it. And I get it. I mean, how many times was Led Zeppelin fucking Stairway to Heaven the #1 song of the year on the rock station? Like, every fucking year. We get it. Pink Floyd's great. Led Zeppelin's amazing, and so many others are fucking great, but that doesn't take away from the Pistols or the Ramones or the Dolls or Kiss or any of those other bands that were kind of like treated like one trick ponies, or flash in the pans, or all look and no substance. It's like, fuck you. It's like, whatever. It could be 3 simple chords played by kids in the garage, sloppy as fuck, but the attitude's there.
Right.
And that's the hope of rock and roll. So
yeah,
that's why I still play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not dead, even though Gene wants to claim it is. It's not going to die. It's always going to be around in some way.
There's great bands all over the place. I mean, you guys have profiled a lot of them, and I mean, it's almost overload. Where do you start and where do you end? You could search the internet and spend your life discovering new music and new bands, and that people should do that, and they should do that with me, with my music, like Johnny Jetson on Bandcamp, and go listen to the record. Or friend me, I'll be your new best friend on social networking.
Well, you just saved me the time. I was about to throw to your plugs and before we get out of here. So is Johnny Jetson on Bandcamp the first place you want people to go?
Well, yeah, I mean, they could check out. I put out the music on a label called Mini Apple Records. That's Minneapolis Records. So the Minneapolis Bandcamp has the Johnny Jetson stuff. It's got my Tattooed Millionaire stuff. There's 3 records there. There's the Space Age Playboys records there. A Queer for Girls record I did that was released back in the day, and some other cool stuff. But yeah, Minneapolis Records. Just type it in your browser. It'll take you to the Bandcamp, and you could hear the music and download it there. You could also just say, Alexa, play Johnny Jetson. So.
And you might have just started somebody playing it right now.
Alexa, play Johnny Jetson.
That's cool.
Yeah. My kid goes over his mom's house and does that and freaks her out.
That's all she wants to hear.
The last thing she wants to hear is the ex-husband's rock band.
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't. Like, thanks, buddy. Because I request you all the time.
Oh, that's funny.
It really annoys my mom.
That's hilarious. Cool,
it's
man.
Good to know that my music is still annoying someone somewhere.
No, that's cool. And and Aaron and I, we'd love to play some of your stuff on Decibel Geek on the podcast sometime. So we'll be in touch about doing that too.
Right on.
Cool.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope I didn't talk too much. I mean, I have a tendency to drone on and on and on, but.
No, some great stories there, and we'd love to have you back on again sometime.
Yeah, it'd be great when the full band's around and we played some shows, maybe down in Nashville on one of the side podcasts, huh?
Yeah, please let us know if you're coming to town so we can meet up.
Nashville in August.
Awesome.
Rock and Ron, it's always a pleasure. Chris, nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Same here, Johnny.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thanks for coming on, man.
There goes Johnny Jetson. All right.
Awesome.
Cool guy.
Yeah, he's got the stories, boy.
Leslie Stoneburner. Thank you. All right. So yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed talking to him. Some definitely interesting stories there for sure. So,
yeah, just the thought of growing up around that time, around New York or LA or any of that. And, I was just a kid from the Midwest that didn't get to experience any of that kind of stuff. But I read about it and seen stuff about it and everything. And it would have been a dream to be in that whole mix and everything. So I love hearing those stories.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, if I had a time travel machine, I'd probably go back to several of the things he mentioned on there. That would be cool. Especially New York in the 70s, early 80s. I think that would have been a cool place to be.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously LA in the 80s. But yeah, well, check out, look at Johnny Jetson on Bandcamp. Check him out. And I'm sure we're going to spend some stuff on the podcast with him. So we got a little bit of time left. Do you want to do Smash or Trash before we get out of here?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get ready to do that.
Smash or Trash.
Those of you still watching in the comments, of course, make sure you say Smash or Trash and your thoughts on what we're going to play tonight. So first up is a band called Mojo Alice with a song called Dirty Mary. And it says Dirty Mary is the first single from the Liquid Sin album and delivers a small taste of what Mojo Alice is all about. Hard driving in your face, pure rock and roll with a whole lot of spit and vinegar. A perfect combination of 70s style and flamboyant 80s showmanship rocketed to the 21st century. That's a lot of hype, so let's see if it lives up to it.
Yeah.
And this is Mojo Alice. After it goes to the little video intro thing that I didn't cut out. There we go. Loud vocals. Joe Alice?
I don't know what to think on that one.
I kind of agree with Eric. It's not like god awful, but it's not great. The drummer sounds really bad with his timing, but I'll be a little forgiving on the vocals because they are a foreign band and she's singing in English, so that's got to be hard. But
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but not too bad. I've heard worse, but yeah, and the vocals are way too loud in the mix, way too loud.
Yeah,
The vocals. It sounds kind of demo quality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that sounds like a professional album to me, but I don't know. It's so. I like some that's on RFL Records, and I've liked some other stuff that RFL's put out, but not so much that one. So okay, so overall,
if the production would have been better, it could have been a lot better.
Yeah. So
but there's potential.
Mostly trash, but some people liked it. Let's see, trash. It's better production, 50%. 50% Chris. Yeah, the world does need 50% less of it. Home recording. Yeah, it does sound home recording. Sounds like recorded in a bag of mud. Okay. Need to hear other tracks. Yeah. Bad production has good bones. That's well said.
Well said there, yeah. There's potential there, but yeah.
Great name. Bury My Bone.
Bury My Bone.
What's up, Barry? My friend's production on their album is 10 times better. Yeah. Okay. So mostly trash on that one. But you guys have rational thoughts on why. All right. Next up is, all right. And you guys want me to put some outside the box stuff on here, so I'm not trying to pick with just hard rock. So this is a lot heavier than just hard rock, so prepare for it. This is a band called The Absence with a song called Coffinized. It says Coffinized is The Absence's follow-up to their 2018 comeback record, A Gift for the Obsessed. That album was the band's first in 8 years, as well as their first for new label home M Theory Audio. The time period between that album's release and the COVID outbreak saw the band stay busy, taking their new songs on the road, touring alongside acts such as Deicide, Origin, Jungle Rot, Ex Mortis, and Hatchet. So you kind of get an idea what you're about to get.
Okay.
This is The Absence with Coffinized. Brace yourselves. I'll let it go with that. The riff's really good. I wanted to give it a real shot. I liked it myself. It's not my normal go-to stuff, but I don't mind it. I like it, actually.
Yeah, not Not for me.
Not for you.
But I can understand what the riff and everything. If I was watching them live, I'd be banging my head to it. But just listening to them, not my thing.
It's not what you listen to unwind after a long day.
Yeah.
Next time
I don't go that heavy.
Next time you go to treatment, you should just put that on just to scare people that are working in the building.
Yeah, really.
Byron's right. Drummers in the bands of the style are always great. That's true. You have to be.
Yeah.
Soloing. Yeah. But this is one of the things where I think you might have to be a musician to really fully get it.
Yeah.
Riff not written. I wouldn't skip it if it came on. I'm actually going to listen to more of them. It kind of pleasantly surprised me. What kind of mixed reviews on this from you guys? Vocals not as strong. Yeah, not a big fan of the vocals, but musically I liked it. All right.
Yeah.
So got one more, and Ron is responsible for this one. So if you don't like it, it's his fault. This is do you pronounce this Roar?
Roar. Yeah.
Roar. Okay. Why did they misspell it?
This is because to be cool. I don't know.
I guess Limp Bizkit
why do bands do what they do?
I don't know. Corn isn't really spelled with a K. All right. Originally formed in 1984, Roar are OGs of the local metal scene in Denver. Reformed in 2017 by original members Jim Chapman and Brian Jones, the Colorado Quintet released their highly anticipated album Resurrected in August of 2020. And I know you like the other song better that you suggested to me, but I'm going to play the one that's going to be their single because that's the one they want to push right now.
That's fine. Just to let you know that this single is a bit more melodic and that than what they usually do. Their other stuff is harder than what you're about to hear then, but yeah, it's still a good song here. This single, I'm going to go down for the video shoot to do that as well here in Denver. But
all right, so this is Roar from Denver with a song called Midnight Comes. That is Roar. They are Roar. Hear them roar. All right. I give it a smash. I liked it.
I'm biased, so I'll stay out of it.
Well, obviously you like them.
But yeah.
Looks like good response so far, except for Grayson thinks it's dad metal, which I guess it could be. I think Al Horta's saying it's not bad. He put not BSD. Not bad. Chris, not a fan. And usually dig the ultrasound with this, Mrs. Art. Okay. No comment from
No comment from Robert.
No comment is a comment. Pretty good. Well, pretty mixed reviews on all three songs tonight. So that's it. I guess that's a good thing. Something for everybody here. Grayson will pass. Musically, I liked it. The singer kind of reminds me of the singer from Offspring a little bit. He kind of has a similar voice.
As I say, that he's usually got a lot heavier sound. He can do the heavy Cookie Monster vocals when he wants to.
Yeah. Not bad. I think I like the Absence the best out of all 3 songs we played, which I didn't expect to, but I kind of do.
Yeah.
But it all depends on your mood and what you're into, but not bad. The singer reminds me of Ice-T. I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah.
Not bad. Need to hear more. Well, that's the reason we do this, guys. Go out and check more of their material. We do this to kind of give you a little taste of it, and hopefully it makes you go check out more of their music. Yeah, so go out and check out Roar, RHOAR, and report back.
They've actually been around since the mid '80s.
Oh, really?
And then they broke up for a while and went their separate ways, and then just got back together here in about 2017, and they're starting to putting together some shows and coming out with the album here and everything. So
cool.
We may be hearing some good things coming from them here.
Well, if they've been around since the 80s, I guess they're not dad metal, they're granddad metal.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way.
Well, hang on. There you
go. There you go.
What is this? We advertised you guys on our podcast. Hopefully, what's your podcast, Barry? Did you tell me and I forgot? I'm sorry if I did. Because I want to go check that out and share it. So let us know. Okay, somebody made a comment earlier about me doing on the Metal Society Sunday thing. That's something I haven't mentioned yet. But apparently the guys it's a Twitch show that comes every Sunday, and they do part of it is they do a trivia game with 10 questions, not 11 like Beat the Geek, but they do 10 questions like we do. And they're big fans of the podcast, and they love the live stream. So they approached us through our Instagram page actually, and but yeah, they've been big fans for a long time, so they just had me on to do the quiz, and that'll be on Sunday, and I'll share the link on social media. But one of the hosts is, do you remember an 80s band from the Sunset Strip called Blackboard Jungle?
Yeah.
I
remember the name.
He was the bassist for Blackboard Jungle, which I was like, so
yeah.
we should have them, the two of those guys on sometime to do the live stream, because I think they'd be pretty entertaining guests.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah. Barry and I are co-hosts of the show. Well, what is your show, guys? Oh, is it? There it is. Metalheads Unite, I guess is the name of it. Well, shit.
Metalheads Unite.
So, yeah, there's a plug for you. Check out Metalheads Unite, guys. I know I'm going to, especially if you're giving us a plug. So thank you very much. That's awesome. Oh, and I see Grayson. Yeah, they actually brought you up when I recorded with them. Mentioned you by. Well, they said we have a guy named Grayson that loves your show, and I was like, I bet that's the same guy. So very cool. Ice-T can rock when he does. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for subscribing, Leslie. Nice to meet you, and hope you feel better from your neck surgery. Ouch.
Yeah, really.
Al Horda says, hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you, guys. So, yeah, Chris and Barry Mabone. There's no way that's your real name. But because he has a dog in his profile picture, so I'm assuming that's either that or so lame. It's a really crazy sexual reference. But so we're wrapping it up now. Anything you want to do on the way out? Anything to cover?
I don't think I have anything else to talk about. So
we had no Mighty K this week. What happened to her?
We had no Mighty K. Yeah, disappointed about that. But
and I'm actually sober at the end of the show. This feels strange. No beer tonight. I'm trying to take a break, but I hope I was still halfway entertaining.
I do miss my Jaeger crutch, but you know, the way it goes.
Oh, Eric said she went to see. Yeah, I mean that was this afternoon, but I assumed she'd still be on tonight. But that's all right. I'm happy she got to see her mom today.
No, it was a good show though. I enjoyed stories by Johnny. We do have another special guest coming up next week. A lot of you people are going to recognize.
And we might have Aaron Camaro on next week.
And just might. You know, we can always hope. Cross our fingers.
Yeah. He's sorry he couldn't be here, guys.
If he gets this house situated.
Yeah, well, he's just trying to save his marriage. Give him a break.
Well, I can relate though, boy. Hey, moving is
you gotta keep your wife happy, especially when you're in the middle of moving and unpacking stuff. So yeah, she got to come first.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's right. Is Aaron too popular for? Aaron's always been too popular for me. I don't know why he sticks around and works.
Yeah. Yeah, he's too good for us.
Aaron no-showed in wrestling too. Huh? No, he didn't. No mini ice cubes for Ron tonight. All right. Well, you ready to wrap it up? We're a couple minutes early, but I think we're good to wrap it at this point, don't you think?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Thanks everybody for watching. We will be back next week, and enjoy your weekend.
We'll see you then. Thanks everybody. Good night.